Hi-ho, everybody. Welcome to episode 27 of
Hey man, nice kiss shirt.
shirt.
Lucky 27, Ace.
That's right. This one's for you. Actually, it's a good year for me, too. A good year, a good number. 27. It's the day I was born.
That's right.
And we're going to do what we do, getting right into rock and roll all night and journal every day.
It's a year-long guide
Celebrating the fun.
of being a Kiss fan.
And we is a couple of Kiss fans.
Certainly so.
We know you are too. And it wouldn't be what it is. And what it is
Hey man.
nice Kiss shirt. Without Kiss shirts.
Without Kiss shirts. Hey, this was this. And you got it. So you explain to him. Because I don't know the whole story. I just know it's this. It's a gift.
I'm not even sure. This was a gift to you from myself.
That's right.
Last week, you may remember, I found myself into a chunk of end-of-the-road shirts, mostly end-of-the-road shirts. And I gifted my bro here, Powie. Oh, yeah. Might as well introduce ourselves as your fine host. This is Powie.
Nah, I'm Powie.
And I'm your humble host, Fido.
I know.
And it's one last kiss. End of the road. What's the first date on the back of that?
You
Is
tell me.
Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm not sure if this is like
2003.
the second. Oh no. This is like the
right.
second leg. So this is like 2019. First and actually that covers a lot of ground. There's European dates on that shirt. But anyway, I'll throw up a
Quite a few of them on those.
shot of that. But and then of course mine, as you'll see in the questions for this week, one of the dates we cover is June 28th, and this my shirt celebrates the anniversary of June 28th, 1996. Excuse me. One of the best Kiss shows I've ever seen. One of the best Kiss shows I would say arguably ever was. Certainly of that decade of the 90s, the fabled Tiger Stadium reunion show. Enough said. So let's get into the book this week.
What's the book saying?
The books say June 25th. If another popular musician of the 1970s was to replace Gene or Paul, who would you choose? Why this musician, and would it have worked?
Well, again, depending on the whole how famous are you at this particular point in time, what it would have been 72, 73-ish when they got together. It's like, would a guy...
Well, I didn't think about that.
Like, Frampton had already been a known commodity with Humble Pie and probably as a solo act as well. I don't know when the Pie broke up, do you?
So are you thinking in terms of... if Paul and Gene because this says replace, and I never really thought about how that would relate to like the timeline of like when they would be replaced, or I mean, are you thinking of it in terms of like if history were rewritten?
Yes, that's the way.
Paul or Gene were not a member of Kiss,
Exactly,
and they sort of formed in '72.
Yeah,
with. Someone else?
With the whole Bill Aucoin's idea that you'll never be photographed or never be seen without your makeup. It's like there's a lot of variables. But we've been throwing around a lot of names that are fun, like, Mac Davis.
Yes.
Could have took Gene's place.
Had the hair.
What
year would Mac Davis replace
Gene Simmons? 1975. Just because. I'm just throwing shit at the wall now.
Wow.
I'm just
What a
monkey taking a crap.
Do you want to live in a world where it's easy to be humble, where that never happened? It's like
no, it's hard to be humble, and that's a when you think about it, that's a Gene Simmons song. When you think about the lyrics,
yeah,
and they might have had a hit record with it.
Boy, I never really considered that.
But
how well that fits.
What about Bobby Goldsboro? It's like we've been giggling on this for a little bit.
Peter, I miss you. I don't know about Bobby. I don't think Bobby would work.
Me neither. I'm just being stupid. Yeah, just for fun. It wouldn't have worked.
It's a stretch. We're being stupid. And it's quite an effort.
Paul would have thrown him out.
No, I think just to de-goof this a little bit.
De-goof this.
I wasn't thinking of that revisionist history angle. I was just thinking like, at some point, as a particular artist came along and like, say, something one of those two was incapacitated and somebody else in the 70s. As I look at the decade of the 70s, I think of like, the first people that came to my mind was like Rex Smith, Fee Waybill of the Tubes. But I have to like, just to back it up, I had not, like in the 70s, I thought, and this was like late 70s, I thought Rex Smith was just, take my breath away. I thought he was, I kind of thought he was like Gino Vanelli light. Or whatever. I didn't really think of him. But it was Mark Cicchini. It was our Three Sides buddy that turned me on to Rex, like the early shit that he did. And it rocks. And he's got the hair.
Would he have worn makeup, or what? Are we talking?
Yeah, I like I sort of that's kind of the way I'm picturing it. Like, but yeah, for those of you who don't even, I'm sure a lot of you don't even know who Rex Smith is. But
God, what if Robin Zander took Paul's place?
Oh man, see, I don't even want to
live in that world.
I don't even want to mess up the timeline of Cheap Trick. That's like that's like another realm of sacredness that I don't want to mess.
Okay. What about Zeno?
But geez, like Zeno.
Wow.
That would be crazy. Would he replace Paul? Would he?
Probably.
Yeah.
Think about too. Like I said, like Wally Stockard from the Babies. But I don't know if he sang. I don't know if Wally Stockard sang John Waite.
But that was a rumor,
That was,
like you said, that was
Wally Stockard was Paul Stanley without makeup.
It was, much like the rumor that Stars were Kiss.
Richie Brano.
But again, like Fee Waybill.
Wow.
I think, he certainly knows how to work platform heels.
True. Do you think Kiss would have been the authors of White Punks on Dope?
Yeah. White Punks off Dope.
Right.
I've never imbibed. Liquor's never touched my lips. But Fee's one of those people, like, he's magnetic enough to where, like, I feel like he could have taken either one of their places, Gene or Paul. Not, within this sort of limited scenario, like I'm just spitballing. Another 70s, and it says popular musician.
It does say popular?
Yeah, it says popular, and like...
What about like David Cassidy?
Well, and yeah, and like that popular is debatable. Like somebody else that I thought would like, that could... and again, talking about somebody...
Danny Bonaducci.
Somebody that... Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
don't beat me up.
He's every bit the bassist that Gene is.
Absolutely.
Don't let him fool you.
Absolutely.
Don't let those.
Didn't even have to touch the fucking neck.
No, his fingers barely moved.
And again, Andy Frazier.
Oh,
Andy Frazier as Gene. Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
from Free, man, the teenage Wunderkind on bass. Imagining, again, for those of you who are familiar with Free, almost like a British, like, I don't want to say proto-Kiss, but certainly a huge influence on Kiss.
Absolutely.
That would be so much fun to kind of play with that idea, you know, with like Paul Rogers in Kiss or Andy Fraser in Kiss.
Wow.
Think
about, too, like you said earlier before we start rolling, like, what band would Gene or Paul like to be a part of? And like the way you brought it up, like Simmons would be.
With like Jeff Beck group.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you ask Gene his druthers, he'd be. I want to be in Jeff Beck.
Yeah, it would be cool to see how that. I mean, that would profoundly change so much of the music, and not only the music, the image. Everything would change. This is a pretty fun question to think about.
It's fun. When you go all the way around the whole world, it's just nuts.
Yeah. Who else did? Oh, yeah, Rick Springfield. Okay.
Rick Springfield.
So, like, he was in this band Zoot. He was popular in Australia. Like, that word popular is kind of that's the fly in the ointment here.
True.
Billy Squier wasn't popular,
right,
in the 70s.
Oh wow, yeah.
But he was talented.
Sure.
He was in that realm. He was
Absolutely.
in that milieu.
Even more so because he was a label mate.
Attention, all planets of the Solar Federation. We have assumed control. This episode of Hey Man, Nice Kiss Shirt just might be the most technically difficult one yet. I may reach out to Alain Billy to ask him the translation for Hey Man, Nice Kiss Shirt from Hell, since he knows all about the gang from hell, the Fearsome Foursome, these guys right here. So what I need to do is interject June 26th. It's All For You Demon asks, what is your one favorite piece of merchandise from the album merch forums? Do you currently have this piece? Why is it your favorite? Powie's choice, any or all of the classic 77 individual posters, Love Gun costumes, Ace with the smoking guitar, Peter on the stool for Beth, etc. That's Powie's choice. My choice would be from the double platinum merch form. I just dug that belt buckle more than probably any of the others. So much so that I got what I think is, I'm pretty sure it's a bootleg logo buckle. And I have a friend of mine who builds custom motorcycles, and I had him powder coat it in silver metal flake just to pay my own little tribute to that double platinum buckle. So there you go. There's our answer for June 26th. The Love Gun era individual posters and the platinum logo buckle. Boom. We now return you to your regularly scheduled hostages. June 27th asks, what Kiss album cover looks best on a t-shirt and why?
The first one, or Rock and Roll Over. And why? Because it does.
Yep. I'd have to agree with you. Rock and Roll Over is a bit of a runner-up. I think the first album looks great.
You got Destroyer on a t-shirt.
But Destroyer has such, again, it hits me in the nostalgia bone in so many aspects. But like just visually speaking, like that first album, that rhinestone logo, those faces, the Beatlesque presentation.
And it doesn't look too hokey or anything, man. It's kind of simple.
Yeah.
And just, it's like
KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
My first Kiss shirt was the first album. My first Kiss merchandise anything before I got my first copy of Kiss Alive when I was 4 years old. Was wearing this thing as a nightshirt. So I can't take the nostalgia of that away from influencing my answer. So yeah, I think we have the same answer on this one. Cut it out, Beans. I don't know what you're doing. Oh, Beans is once again disrupting the pod. It's fun. Let's keep it moving. What the hell are you doing? All right, let's move on to June 28th.
A holy day.
Mm-hmm. A high holy day in my Kiss universe and in the universe of many others. What is the coolest experience you've ever had at a Kiss concert? Have you ever seen the band play any deep tracks that they don't normally play? What song was it? Describe that night. Okay.
I'd have to go through like Kiss Alive Forever to know exactly what was going on, what they played. I was kind of surprised that they did 2000 Man. I think they did that at Dodger Stadium or something. I can't remember. Like, they did 100,000 Years for fuck's sake. And I was like, I wasn't expecting that. I kind of was, but I kind of wasn't.
Was that probably the most surprising deep cut?
I don't know. I know that they've done deep cuts in other spots, you know.
I don't know. I guess there's a difference between deep cut and like rarely played. You know what I mean? Like I look back at I feel fortunate to have seen the Dynasty tour early enough that I saw Radioactive, Move On, Tossin' and Turnin', and New York Groove in one show, and like Radioactive didn't last very long at all.
Neither did Tossin'.
But do I? Yeah, neither did Tossin' and Turnin'. But
so that well,
I mean, I guess that's probably the deepest.
I guess I can't remember the entire set list, but I knew that there were a couple of gems that they pulled out that I wasn't expecting. I Stole Your Love.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh yeah. You can't, dude.
You know,
Hot in the Shade. That first to open the set with "I Stole Your Love."
Yeah, Paul solo tour too. When he opened with that, I was just like, "Oh my God!" He read my mind.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's so weird because, like, to hardcore geeks like us, though, it's like it's hard to find a deep cut. You know what I mean? Because like the way we treasure these songs is like sometimes what most people consider a deep cut just like rises to the top of every playlist for us.
Right.
I have a sick adoration for Love Theme from Kiss. A lot of people can't stand that song.
I think they did Rock Bottom when I saw them at the Forum, and I was like, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, like, and you mentioned 2000 Man. That was a bit of a shocker. This question though, I gotta say, it's a little bit of a mishmash. I almost think like the deep cuts should be like a different question.
Right, exactly, because the most fun you've ever had at a Kiss concert, or what's the best Kiss concert experience you've ever had? I'll go first because mine is lamer than yours. I went to the Forum in LA in August, and it was right before Gene's birthday. We missed it, it was like right around there, but we didn't go to Gene's birthday. And the Palace of Auburn Hills on New Year's Eve. Swell time had by me. Them. What's your favorite?
But seriously though, I mean, your memory, I'm hoping your memory is better than mine on this. And again, we don't do show prep, people. We don't do any. And I've kept journals since about 85 that I should maybe consult, to sort of correlate some of the events of these dates. But trying to remember, like, why, like, I mean, obviously we got tickets separately, so we weren't going to sit together. But I mean, a lot of times at a concert, you can you show up as a pack of friends and you just commandeer some seats, but I don't remember how it was that we didn't end up like literally shoulder to shoulder enjoying Psycho Circus.
I thought we did toward the end. We were on the floor. You were in the seats, right? I think we looked for you.
I honestly
with
don't even
binocs.
remember.
I don't know if we had binocs or not. I think I looked for you. I couldn't find you.
But yeah, I mean, I know it was fun. It was certainly fun. But yeah, for me, it's kind of a coincidence that June 28th asked this question.
It's not a coincidence. He put it in there because it's of this date.
Yeah, I mean,
June 28th. I mean,
yes,
probably.
But usually,
Rick, did you know what you were doing when you did that?
Rick, I have to say, usually you make a foot or a header note at the top. You know, you make milestone comments. Love Gun released on this day. Hotter Than Hell released on this day. Such and such. But you didn't. You made no mention of any milestone on June 28th. But
shame on you.
It doesn't. I mean, it. You know, I wouldn't. It makes total sense for you to have done that, and maybe you meant to do that, but at any rate, yeah. I mean, that's why I wore the shirt. I really, just to give you a little bit of inside baseball on this episode, it's been fraught with issues from me having this inexplicable whooping cough 30 seconds before rolling tape to memory full on my phone. Yeah, I'm shooting this thing on my phone, to a battery on a light that's probably on its last legs. It's like, this episode is doomed. But
this episode is brought to you by Murphy's Law.
Yes, it absolutely is. And as much as I could wax poetic about the coolest experience being Tiger Stadium, I mean, that the events leading up to it, the night that we bought tickets, you know, months prior, it being coinciding with the day that MTV News announced that David Lee Roth was reuniting with Van Halen. I mean, on down the line.
Right.
Yeah, remember that? Like
all kinds of serendipity going on.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that the coolest experience of that concert. It wasn't like most concerts. That day, bless you, meeting Sebastian on the catwalk. Sebastian Bach was that we were all 8-year-olds. That day lasted. That was a 12 to 15 hour. It was a crazy long day. It was the world's largest. I mean, I challenge Deadheads at Soldier Field, you know, or in terms of tailgates, Michigan, Ohio State at the Big House. I mean, I would stack that Michigan and Trumbull tailgate fest up against any in history. I mean, it was just wild. Sprawling.
It just had to be great.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally the phrase that is often used, Planet Kiss. It was fucking amazing. We got separated. I'm speaking specifically about Johnny Scotch and I, my best bud, my guitarist, partner in many Kiss crimes, guitarist to Brian and I, Great Expectations from back in the day, Sweet Pain. He's been on the pod, Say No More, Say No More. I think I mentioned as recently as last episode, you can catch a glimpse of him in the beginning of the Second Coming video of the Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, she did.
So there was something of consequence that resulted from his front row positioning there. And
what was that?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, to make a long story even longer, I would like to let the events of that day unfold organically across the pod, as it's been referenced in the, 27 episodes up to this point. It'll continue to be referenced, but I'll just tell the story of reconvening at the van after the show, and it was when we were ready, when we were individually. I think there was, I'm trying to think how many of us traveled down, but a half dozen of us in Johnny's van, and we just straggled in as we did. Whenever we thought for us the show was over, we meander back to the van, and he was there first, sitting in the driver's side. I was the second person there, and I was just like, we were just just in a daze, just of euphoria over what had just transpired. And I was like, so what happened, and then we were just sharing the the parts of the previous hour or two that we had missed from each other. And he told this horrible story about getting crushed against a barricade and getting kicked in the head by a stage diver and doubled over the bar and just brutalized in the pit, essentially.
And, I can't imagine being at the front of that madness.
Yeah. Well, and he's 6'5", 6'6". He's a tall dude. So if you're gonna be in that melee, it's good to have that kind of size, that kind of stature. But he tells this story just how he was just mangle-rooney, and he's telling this, and he's like, oh, and I was hanging upside down, and I thought I was gonna be sick, and I puked, and I was still getting clocked in the head, and I was bleeding, and I couldn't breathe, and just painting this horrible picture. And then he turns. I'm in the back seat behind the driver's seat, and he turns away from me as he's speaking, and then he turns back around in a flash, and he says, "But I got this," and he sticks this in my face, and it's Paul's neck from the smashed guitar. It's the relic of the day. And my jaw, you can imagine, my jaw just dropped. And this, at that point, this had all 6 strings. It had the bridge, and it's got, I don't know what's gonna show up, but it's got Paul's pick in the truss rod cover. It was, and what I find really remarkable about this, as most of us know, they pre-saw the necks, so they break on cue. Well, this didn't break on cue. This broke at the bolts. So the neck and the fretboard is intact. It was just it was meant. It was just kismet, kismet, if you will. That's what it was. And me being my love is the plaster, and yes, I'm the collector.
I didn't even know you had that in there.
The pick?
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Check out the back.
Yeah. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
It's a lot. So yeah. Can we just use this to end my story about the coolest experience I've ever had at a Kiss concert. That's
Pretty fucking cool.
pretty much a physical manifestation of the coolest. And yet that only scratches the surface. That's granted, it's an exclamation point on the sentence, but man, I'll never be able to convey. I wish that I had been older in '79 and been able to just really regard that, like to remember the things about the Silverdome the way I remember the things about Tiger Stadium. Would be amazing. Maybe someday there'll be like a therapeutic technique in which we can like recover memories, and who knows, maybe that's something good that AI could do, pursuant to our last little diatribe earlier about AI. But yeah, June 28th, 1996, pretty fucking special, guys and gals. Can we even move on from that? I think we should. To June 29th. Have you introduced your kids to Kiss? If you don't have kids, have you ever introduced a younger family member to the band? How did they react to Kiss?
I don't think I have, to tell you the truth. I can't remember really turning anybody on to Kiss, like youngsters.
You never mentored the youth of today toward the Fearsome Foursome?
I don't think so. I think they might have been passe by then. I mean, I think like when I went to see them at the Forum, like me and D-Man were going, and I had my Kiss shirt and stuff, and maybe like I had a girlfriend and her two boys, and they might have been curious, but I really didn't turn them on to anything, and I was wearing my Kiss shirt when I got back or whatever. So, I mean, but we didn't stay together that long anyway after I went and saw them. 97, 96, 97. So, I mean, they might have gotten curious and tried to figure it out on their own, because I did like listen to them sometimes.
Yeah.
I turned my buddy Pat's kids onto the Dwarves.
Hey, that's something.
For life.
That's something.
Right. So no. What about you?
Were there like any like notable adults that you took from like 0 to 60 as far as Kiss was concerned?
Not that I can really think of. I mean, either they got it or they didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like that kind of thing. It's like they got it, they knew they were already
like they already had it. Yeah,
they already had it. Or it's like my friend Chris. It's like I'm not interested in seeing. He was a Michael Jackson guy, Bon Jovi guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I'm not interested in seeing a bunch of old guys with makeup, you know. And I was like, okay, you know. So that was his thing. I don't really think. And like I said, unless my girlfriend's kids had like gotten into them on their own, maybe.
Yeah. For me, it was my brother's. My oldest nephew, Caden, he's 21 now. And I remember it was a Christmas, and I had gotten the Psycho Circus dolls. I don't know if I had... I think I was past the point at that time of like being concerned about doubles.
Was that the McFarlane stuff?
Yeah. And I wasn't like super keen on them, you know, but I got them as a gift, and I thought it would be cool to whenever I think maybe the first time that Caesar brought him over, I busted out the Gene one, and I thought, next time you come over, I'll take out Ace, and then I'll take out Pierre, I'll take out Paul, and you can play with this stuff while you're here, you know. I didn't want to like just here take them home or whatever, but you know, so I was like, these can just stay here for you to play with when you're here. But he was into it for a minute, and then
Power Rangers.
And then it just and then it was whatever the next thing was.
I turned my girlfriend who was living with me. I turned her kids on to South Park. So that's my crime. No, that I was watching South Park, and it was like fairly new then. It was like the second season, maybe.
Yeah.
And it was like they were really getting into some heavy, hard shit. The John Denver experience and that whole deal. That, and they couldn't believe it. They were like, they were just at that. I mean, one was like 12, 13, 14, and the other one was like 11 or 12 ish. So they were
they were already like formed, you know. They
right, and then
they had a grip on some shit.
It was all over but the crying after they discovered that I was watching this, and they didn't know what it was, and they watched it and they were just like
I sort of, I can't say that I turned my sister's boys onto my younger nephews onto Kiss. I mean, in a sense, I mean, I gave Giancarlo one of my old Kiss shirts for a birthday.
Never really sat any kids down and said, "Listen to this."
Well, yeah, and I did. Like you said, I didn't do that to them either. But their dad, my brother-in-law, is also a musician. And so they grew up in a musical household. You know, my sister's musical, and so I don't know if Adam was the first person to actually like play them Kiss, but it was at a certain age. It was something that me and Marco and Giancarlo could talk about. But I guess I can't really say that I like turned them on to it per se. It was just a bonding thing, and I'm pretty sure that, I mean, I would bet that those two, that Marco and GC, are like they probably still dig Kiss, but this just makes me think like that's the next step. That's what I need to do is, you know, bring over
indoctrinate.
I was gonna say bring over some albums, but they do have they got a hi-fi at their new place. That'd be cool. And I think, I'm not sure for the housewarming. We haven't had an official housewarming yet. I know I've taken records over there, but I don't think I've taken any of my Kiss doubles. That's probably the next thing I'll do. So, what do you suppose I should start with? Maybe this leads into our next question for June 30th. Love Gun was released on June 30th. So maybe I'll bring a copy of Love Gun to my nephews. That's a good idea.
And of course, the most important question of all from Love Gun is, why do you think Kiss recorded Then She Kissed Me? Do you like this cover? What were your thoughts the first time you heard this song? Most important question.
Well, that is pretty. That is, it's on the tip of our minds right this moment.
Actually, why do I think they did it? Because apparently, all I've read is that Paul was like, "What do you think of this? Well, what do you think if we did this?" You know, and apparently, like we went back and read that they were doing "Go Now" by the
they were
Moody
going to do
Blues.
Moody Blues
Or Jailhouse Rock, which supposedly they did the day that Elvis passed away in '77, live on stage. Supposedly. I don't know for sure whether that's true.
Cow Palace?
I think so.
San Francisco, August
16th. I want to say August 16th. 77.
Boy, you know, that's...
I don't know if that's...
I don't know if I've ever heard a bootleg of that, come to think of it.
I've never heard a bootleg of it. I've heard a story that they did Jailhouse Rock for Elvis. But Now, I'd love to hear Go Now by freaking Kiss. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But yeah, Then She Kissed Me. It's like just like the next album was Any Way You Want It, Dave Clark 5. Who, you know, what kind of covers were they doing that we don't know about, or you know, what we're thinking? Chuck Berry, maybe they probably got together, probably jammed on some Chuck Berry stuff when they got together. Who knows? You hear Paul playing Moody Blues. So you want to be a rock and roll star? He plays that riff in the loft, you know. You totally hear him doing that. And the first time I heard it, I didn't think anything of it. I don't think I realized it was a cover until later. But it did seem like a girl group song, you know, like a leader of the pack type thing.
Yeah, I know that I hadn't heard the original, but it did sort of stick out like a sore thumb. I didn't dislike it the first time I heard it, but with the cast, I remember hearing the castanets in that song and thinking, because I knew what castanets were. I was already
percussionist.
I was already a happy little percussionist, and I thought it was odd. I thought it was an odd Kiss song,
right?
But
a Kiss song with castanets, as opposed to what glockenspiel and you know grand piano and you know an orchestra.
Yeah, I mean it took. Yeah, I mean I don't know. It did strike me strangely, but like I said, I didn't dislike it. I still don't. No. You know, I dig the solo.
It's probably Paul.
I was gonna say, is that Paul?
I'm thinking it's a Paul thing.
It does sound like a Paul solo.
I'm not thinking it's Ace for sure. No. I mean, maybe when I was a kid and heard it for the first few times, I might have thought it was Ace, but it is definitely not an Ace solo. It's got to be Paul.
Oh yeah, when when all this stuff first came out, I thought everything was Ace.
Right.
You know,
yeah. I thought Ace was on "Hold the Line" by Toto because of that guitar sound. You know, I thought I was like I could have swore it was like Paul and Ace were playing on it. I think I actually told people that Paul and Ace played on it, not even knowing for sure, but it was just that sound.
Yeah, well, and the same thing with me. Like when I heard "Boys Are Back in Town," that was
Les Paul through the Marshall.
It was an extremely with the
twin lead.
With the twin lead, it's an extremely Kiss-esque song. I mean, Then She Kissed Me, not really Kiss-esque. But I mean, I'm sure that you know the name of the song played into, you know, come on,
right,
come on, get yourselves kissed. But you know, I imagine that, it may not have been, you know, a member of Kiss, but perhaps within the organization, somebody thought, well, let's expand the base. You know, let's like appeal to you know, let's
cover those '60s kids.
Let's cover an oldie and like, you know, get some of these people around the fringes that just think this is just a bunch of clowns in makeup and it's like maybe maybe that was part of their calculus in covering that song. Maybe we'll never know. Let's move forward.
Moving the project forward.
July 1st asks, what year do you consider to be the most important year for Kiss and why?
75. Muy importante. That was it. It was make or break. And it was happening. And on a grassroots level, it was like everybody was going. Lots of people were going to see them, but nobody was buying their records. And I guess that was how the money was made through the record sales. It wasn't happening, and then Alive all of a sudden just popped, and that was it. It didn't get them into the stratosphere, but it got them It got them about halfway to the stratosphere.
Yeah.
They got them a damn good flying start.
Well, I mean, that was definitely the
that they held on in '76, and then like Destroyer was tanking, and it was looking like it was going to be back to the bars. Then Beth broke, so maybe '76 they launched them. Just so many. You can say anything.
Well, and see, that's funny. I mean, you're sort of leaning into my answer, which my impression is, my first thought was '77 was perhaps the most important year. You know, like the sort of peak of their popularity.
They were riding that wave.
Yeah.
Had you ever heard the story that they told on Three Sides where they said that Aucoin had told somebody in '77 that Love Gun would be the last album and they'd be done?
Oh, somebody outside organization
said that Aucoin had told them that we'll be done after Love Gun and then we'll pack it in and it's going to be a career.
No.
It was 77, the Japan 77 deal.
So maybe
maybe Alive 2 had come out. Maybe they said, it was 77 and he said, after this, we're done.
Yeah, well.
That's the rumor.
It's a good thing that was just a rumor.
But yeah, you're saying
they had
like
a lot to do. I mean,
they did.
Yeah, I mean that Japan tour. I mean they officially broke wide in every, not yet Australia, but that Kiss Mania was yet to come. But I mean, I think it's safe to say that
they were a mostly global supergroup at that point.
Yeah, 77 was huge. I mean, they had what? It wasn't. I don't think it was Billboard. I don't think it was the top 100. But one of those charting metrics. Was it the Hot 100? I don't know.
Gallup poll?
Well, no. I mean, they were number one pop group in according to Gallup poll. But no, they had Alive, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, and Love Gun were all on the charts.
Apparently, yeah.
And they were the first band to have.
Well, Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun shipped platinum, so they were freaking already just.
I mean, yeah,
they conquered
all the doors. Yeah, all the doors were open at that point. So that's not. I mean, there's no one right answer.
Not at all.
I mean, that's just.
What do you think's the most pivotal?
The most important year for Kiss.
Important. 78, man, they did so much crap. So much.
Yeah.
It was the tour, then the solo albums and the movie. They were busting their ass in that year.
Yeah.
And they weren't probably very happy about it either because they'd been together for 5 years.
And it's all through all the years we've mentioned from 75, well, maybe not 75. I mean, 75 might have been the last year that they were really unified. I mean, much has been said about how, Peter was always kind of a loose nut, when it came to
if you don't do this, I'll quit.
His insecurities, sort of threatening the unity of the band or whatever. Who knows how much is to be made of that? But I mean, there were little cracks all along, all through that. Ace, in absentia for some of those Destroyer sessions and stuff like that, but
but they patch up the wound and carry on.
Yeah.
And
and here we are, 50 years later. Kiss is still a thing.
And that's another thing too that fascinates us and draws us in is the whole, because we thought that they were the four guys living in the house or living in some cosmic space.
Like the Monkees.
All the time. That's the way we thought of them.
The Space Monkees.
Yeah, the Space Monkees in our childhood. They were the Space Monkees and they were a group and they were together all the time and never fought. Nobody, had a problem with one another. It was pony rides and lollipops and all this
and
stuff.
All of that was that's one thing that Kiss Meets the Phantom reinforced for us younger fans, It's like, oh yeah, they all live in this cool pad, and
They all live in a Winnebago.
they've
They don't talk to each other when they come.
they've got a snake couch.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Parting thoughts on any of the questions we've hit this evening in this most beleaguered episode of
Hey man, nice kiss shirt and the light.
Oh, look at that. And that's our cue to just. It's time to say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Please do what you do every week. Well, some of you do. Some of you have. I think there's a lot more out there that need to put their two lips together and kiss that subscribe button. And remember the words of the barbarian.
Play hard.
Play fair.
Nobody hurt. Except this episode.